And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. Let's build a community. Subscribe, watch, comment, and share with friends because the stupidity is boundless. I mean, last night, I was watching Lawrence O'Donnell on MSNBC. I didn't know whether to laugh or to cry. And I knew that I had to do a segment breaking this all down. Now, while I think the world of Lawrence O'Donnell, he probably used the term stupid more than 100 different times. And I believe that it stemmed from Trump calling Joe Biden a very stupid person during his interview with Kristen Welker over the weekend. Let me show you what Lawrence was saying about stupidity. Play the clip.
You can never know what stupidity is going to do next. It always surprises you. It's impossible to anticipate stupidity because it has no logic. It is disconnected from reality. I was not expecting Donald Trump to post a picture of himself as Pope. How could I expect that? How could anyone expect that? Stupidity without power can be easily ignored. But when stupidity has power and you never know what it's going to do next, then you can always feel the danger of that stupidity. And you have to live with the fear of not knowing what's next from someone who could hurt you.
I mean, there's something about Lawrence O'Donnell and his delivery. I think I really should start watching it and sort of speak in that exact same sort of tone. Because a big theme of his segment was predicated on the oath that lawmakers take and Trump's lack of interest in its importance. Lawrence goes on and he speaks about the first oath that he took. Play the clip.
I was then asked to repeat words that I had never heard before and have never forgotten. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Defend the Constitution of the United States. The weight of those words changed me as I spoke them. I had no idea that everyone working in the Senate, from the receptionists to the senators themselves, take the same oath of office, word for word. And in that instant, the job that I thought was going to be, at most, a temporary detour in my work life that I was probably ill-suited for, was by far suddenly the most important job that I would ever have. I knew that day, in that moment, with my hand raised, that the importance of my work was going to peak right there in the United States Senate in my 30s.
Yeah, it is the most important words any American citizen taking office or working in an office can possibly utter. He compares it, of course, to Joe Biden taking different oaths, many different oaths in the different positions that he held. Senator, vice president, president. Play the clip.
Joe Biden took an oath of office more than any other president. He took an oath of office 10 times, 7 as a senator, twice as vice president, and once as president. And Joe Biden meant every word of that oath, including, very much so, the "so help me God" part of that oath. Joe Biden lived that oath of office. No president had more reverence for that oath than Joe Biden. And now, right after Joe Biden, we have a president who does not know what reverence is or what his oath means. Donald Trump talks about his predecessor in office more than any other president has ever talked about their predecessors. And in that same interview on Meet the Press, Donald Trump called President Biden, quote, a stupid person and a very stupid person.
Yeah. Finally, Lawrence compares it to the oaths that Trump has taken. Play that clip.
The presidential oath of office is shorter, but it ends with those same words: defend the Constitution of the United States. The presidential oath is, I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Donald Trump has taken that oath twice, and was obviously unmoved by it. He also obviously did not listen to it, and he has proved that many times, but never more clearly than in an answer to Kristen Welker's question about due process for immigrants on Meet the Press. Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president? To which Donald Trump said, I don't know.
Oh, let me tell you this. Lawrence was in rare form last night. I mean, I watch his show regularly, and I got to tell you, he's generally snarky. But this was a whole new breed of Lawrence O'Donnell. He spoke about how Trump's AI Pope photo has much deeper complications than what people even imagine. Play that clip.
But what is most important about that picture has nothing to do with religion or Catholicism or the papacy. What is so horrifying about that picture is the mental capacity of the president that is on display in that picture. That is the picture that Donald Trump decided to display of himself around the same time that he was saying, I don't know, when asked, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president? That is not a picture of a man who has bad taste. Donald Trump has been a vulgarian with bad taste his entire life. That is a picture that the 25th Amendment was created to deal with. The 25th Amendment was written to deal with a disabled president incapable of carrying out his duties because of physical or mental disability. Any other vice president and cabinet for any other president would have immediately convened a discussion of invoking the 25th Amendment if that president ever put out a picture of himself like that. The vice president and the majority of the cabinet can vote to remove the president from office and install the vice president as the acting president as long as the president is disabled.
Okay, so let me be very clear about something. I know Donald Trump a whole lot better than Lawrence, than pretty much almost anybody. Donald Trump is not disabled. He is not mentally incompetent. He is not. He suffers from what's called IDGAS. I don't give a shit. He thinks it's funny, and he's willing to even use the death of Pope Francis. He's willing to use the conclave as a moment to elevate his own ego. That's all it's about. Trump sitting there in the papal outfit. It's bad timing. Granted, I get it, but it has nothing to do with the 25th Amendment. It has nothing to do with being mentally incapacitated. It's just bad taste. Meanwhile, Trump claimed over the weekend that we have lost so much money from trade. Let me be clear. That is another point that Lawrence does not agree with. Play the clip.
Donald Trump talks repeatedly in the interview about how much money we were losing because of international trade. We have never lost a penny because of international trade. Donald Trump said, quote, we were losing hundreds of billions of dollars with China. Now, think about how very stupid and dishonest that statement is. Donald Trump is counting every penny we spend on imported products as lost money. That means every time we spend money, we are losing money, according to that theory. Every one of Donald Trump's friends who arrive at his private club in Florida in their newest Mercedes or their newest Range Rover has, according to Donald Trump, just lost hundreds of thousands of dollars by buying that car. Donald Trump has always thought, apparently, that paying bills is losing money. That's why it's always been very difficult for people doing business with Donald Trump to get him to pay what he owes them. But according to Donald Trump's own economic theory of losing money, every time Donald Trump actually bought and paid for something, like a building, he lost money. That is his very stupid economic theory of international trade.
Yeah. In fact, I agree with Lawrence. It is completely flawed. In fact, if Donald or any of these geniuses that are around him would explain to him the very simple, and you could do this on a piece of paper with a crayon. It's called the circular flow of economic activity. And it shows you how money moves through the system as a direct result of the purchasing of foreign goods. Now, meanwhile, Lawrence goes on and he breaks down Trump's claims. This is the best. that movies are a national security risk. Play the clip.
It is one of those idiotic Trump ideas that requires a depth of stupidity in its authorship that no one else in the history of American government possessed other than Donald Trump. Donald Trump's justification for this tariff idea on movies that will never be put in writing is that movies not made in the United States are you ready for this? I think we can all say this together by now. A national security threat. Those are Donald Trump's words. Movies are, according to Donald Trump, quote, a national security threat. Dolls are a national security threat. Washing machines are a national security threat. The president of the United States believes all of those things are national security threats. And the president does have an extremely limited authority to impose tariffs in response to a product that presents a national security threat to the United States. That's why he's calling movies a national security threat.
Yeah. I mean, is he wrong? Did Lawrence not see the movie Sausage Party when all of the supermarket items come to life? Or when I watched this the first time last night, it reminded me of the scene from the Avengers movie. All right. It is a national security issue, Lawrence. Let me show you that clip, all right, and explain to you. Donald must have been watching the Avengers, and this is exactly why it is a national security risk to Donald J. Trump. Meanwhile, the last clip that I want to show you is of Lawrence discussing Trump as the Scrooge limiting children's toys. Play that clip.
And now, every time Donald Trump talks about tariffs, he sounds stupider than the time before. This time, in a line worthy of a mental competency exam, Donald Trump talked about a beautiful baby girl who he then said is 11 years old. Donald Trump is the only president in history who has decided exactly how many dolls a beautiful baby girl or an 11-year-old girl needs or should ever have.
When you say they could have $3 instead of $30, are you saying
they don't need
Americans could see empty store shelves?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
So in Donald Trump's new math, the price increases are going to be so high that the amount of money that used to buy you $30 before the Trump tariffs will now only buy you 3. Donald Trump is saying that he's going to drive prices up by a factor of 10. And maybe the Trump kids have 250 pencils each, but I don't know anyone else who did.
Yeah, I certainly know I didn't. Look, the level of chaos, the misinformation, the disinformation, the malinformation coming out of Washington right now, it is designed to distract us. Let's stay focused. Stay focused on the big issues. And then what's the biggest issue of them all? It's the economy, stupid, right? That's the adage that ended up putting Trump back into the White House just now. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.